No DQ Galaxy, we are live with a recap of Friday Night Smackdown for May 12th, 2023. We now have the brand new SmackDown roster. This was an eventful show. We had the tournament to crown the new Raw World Heavyweight Champion take place on SmackDown. We also had the return of Roman Reigns. And I'm back too. I missed Wednesday's Dynamite recap because, well, I was at Dynamite in Detroit. Great show, very enjoyable. I definitely recommend checking out an AEW show. I know Virtue will never go, but it's a really fun show to experience live. And I had an absolute blast. Jeff Meacham, thank you for filling in for me. I appreciate it. Now, let's get into the recap. We kicked off with the first tournament match, triple threat, Edge versus AJ Styles versus Rey Mysterio. In a lot of triple threat matches, you have it where one guy ends up dead on the outside of the ring and it's two people in the ring for most of the match. However, this was not that match. Really good match because, in my opinion, this is what a triple threat match should be, where it's all three in the ring at the same time for the most part, doing spots together. And they did a lot of three-way spots in this match. The action kept at a fast pace. It was very enjoyable. Was very lengthy too, as it should be, considering it's a tournament to crown a new world champion. Styles applied the calf crusher while Edge applied the crossface to Mysterio. Mysterio was in a bit of trouble, and then Edge and AJ Styles went at it for a while. Mysterio came back in. He went for the 619 on multiple occasions, could not hit it. Eventually, Rey did hit the 619, and then we had an awkward moment. Something happened here. Rey came off the top. It looked like he was going for a DDT, and, well, did not exactly connect with it. Botchamania running wild here, unfortunately, during what was a really great match with these guys. But then AJ Styles quickly got back in, came off the top rope with the phenomenal forearm, and pinned Edge. A little surprising. I did not expect Edge to take the fall in this match. AJ Styles advances. He would go on to the main event of SmackDown to face the winner of the second match, which we'll get to right now. Back-to-back triple threat matches. How often does that happen on SmackDown? I feel like SmackDown almost always opens with a promo. And we certainly don't get two lengthy back-to-back matches. Very wrestling-heavy SmackDown. So if that's what you're into, if you like your wrestling on a wrestling show, then this was the SmackDown for you. So it was Austin Theory, the United States champion, versus Bobby Lashley versus Sheamus. Theory wanted no part of this. He was trying to get away, but then he got double teamed for a while. And after the commercial break, Theory was sent into the ring post by Lashley, and then it was down to Lashley and Sheamus. They exchanged blows. Lashley applied the Hurt Lock to Theory, or not Theory, to Sheamus. Theory broke it up with a drop kick. Theory threw Lashley into the steel steps on the outside of the ring, and I'm not sure what happened exactly, but Lashley got busted open. His head was split open towards the end of this match. I'm not sure if it was the steel steps or something else. Back in the ring, Sheamus came off the top with an avalanche white noise to Theory. However, Theory kicked out, and then Sheamus went for the bro kick, got hit with a spear from Lashley. Theory tried to steal the pin like he did at Backlash, but was unsuccessful this time. Lashley applied the hurt lock to Theory. Theory kept trying to escape. Then Sheamus attempted to break it up, but Lashley threw Sheamus out of the ring after Sheamus hit Theory with the bro kick, and then Lashley pinned Theory to pick up the win. And my apologies to the real Wyatt. I accidentally forgot the super chat, or sometimes I sign off before the super chat comes in. So special shout out tonight to the real Wyatt. Thank you for tuning in. Much appreciation. And yeah, nice win here for Bobby Lashley. Good match. I thought the first one was better, but still very solid. And yeah, Lashley getting busted open. Hey, even if it's the hard way, it's nice to see a little bit of color in a WWE ring. And yes, I agree. Lashley bleeding makes him look even more scary looking, for sure. We had Grayson Waller backstage, and he wanted to have the winner of the main event be on his talk show next week. Adam Pearce agreed to this, and next week it will be the Grayson Waller effect with the winner of the SmackDown portion of the tournament. We had Baron Corbin versus the SmackDown debut of Cameron Grimes. Corbin got on the mic, insulted Grimy, said Grimy was going to be flat on his back in 2 minutes, wishing he was back in NXT. Match started, and, well, it immediately ended. Grimy, right when the bell rang, took out Corbin with the cave-in, the foot stomp move that he does, and he got the 1-2-3 victory. Match was like 5-6 seconds. Maybe the shortest match in SmackDown history. I don't know. Somebody will have to ask the former trivia champion Jeff Meacham, or maybe even the longest reigning champion Greg Cherry. Somebody's got to know the shortest match in SmackDown history. This might be it. Who knows? So Cameron Grimes picks up the win. They really got to turn Baron Corbin good guy and make him the lone wolf again. He's a complete joke at this point. And yes, this is the same guy that retired Kurt Angle, losing to Cameron Grimes. Oh, how could I forget Aaliyah beating Natalya? 3:17. How could I forget that? That was the fastest match. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, was Grimes originally supposed to be Uncle Howdy? I do not recall that. I know that there was talk at one point of doing a Wyatt 6 faction, and maybe Grimes was one of the people rumored for that group. I mean, he left NXT right around the time Wyatt was starting to do the Uncle Howdy stuff, so I could see people speculating on that. Like, Bo Dallas, I think, was the one that was really heavily rumored from the get-go. And by the way, still no Bray Wyatt, no Uncle Howdy. They just disappeared. Nice debut for Grimy, but I feel bad for Corbin. Like, they really got to give him a reboot and let him maybe do some kind of hybrid of what he's been doing with the Lone Wolf and turn him face, or just something to change him up. We had the Bloodline with Roman Reigns coming to the ring for a promo. And on commentary, it was brought up how the Bloodline considers the Raw World title to be a consolation prize because nobody can beat Roman Reigns. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. Much appreciated. Says, Jon Moxley has made bleeding too watered down. It doesn't have the same effect anymore. The way Lesnar and Lashley bled is how they do it, not every damn match. Well, those guys are getting busted open legitimately. And, there's this story that Brock Lesnar purposely smashes his head into things to get busted open. And WWE has this ban on blading, yet they allow Brock Lesnar to do this, which is actually more dangerous than just letting him cut himself with a razor blade. Kind of crazy, don't you think? Anyways, Bloodline cut a promo, and Roman Reigns, little dig at Cody, said that they are the one true royal family in wrestling. They main evented both nights of WrestleMania, and then at Backlash, Solo Sikoa stepped up. He swam like a shark. But then Reigns said that Owens and Zayn are not the problem anymore. The problem are Solo's brothers, the Usos, because they dedicated their tag team title match to him and they lost. Roman demanded an apology. And Jimmy Uso was basically laughing about this, and Roman Reigns was not amused, asked if he was a clown, little throwback to the Goodfellas segment that they did. Reigns pie-faced Jimmy, told him to not listen to the idiots as they were chanting no. Jimmy was perhaps on the verge of doing something here, and then Jay stepped in and apologized on behalf of the Usos, asked for one more opportunity, said they'll bring the tag team titles back to the Bloodline. But then Reigns said, while it's true the titles will be coming back to the Bloodline, Paul Heyman explained that at Backlash it will be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Bloodline, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. Big swerve here. And then Reigns finished off the segment by saying that he will dedicate their victory to the greatest tag team of all time, Alpha and Sika, the Wild Samoans. Man, this was quite the segment. Like, I thought it was very entertaining, and I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued as hell about this match. Did I say Backlash? I meant Night of Champions. You know, all these names are interchangeable pretty much, with the exception of the Big Four, maybe Big Five. So Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are going to Saudi Arabia. That's the first surprise, because we all pretty much assumed that wasn't going to happen. But now it appears to be the case. They had the official graphic, unless there's some weird angle that they do. I mean, Night of Champions is 2 weeks away. And yes, at least I did not call it Great Balls of Fire. I don't know how I feel about Roman Reigns and Solo winning the tag team titles. Like, put another title on Reigns when he barely shows up. And by the way, what a letdown that he's not defending the title before he hits 1,000 days. Like, he's just coasting along to it. They really got to have, especially if he's going for the tag titles now, like on that SmackDown in 2 weeks, they got to have him defend the title against somebody significant, whether it's Bobby Lashley or Edge again, or even Rey Mysterio again, or throw somebody new in there just for the hell of it. Maybe LA Knight, but do something. He's got to defend that title on day 999, or else you're missing a huge opportunity for some drama right before the premium live event. Mixed feelings about all this, but as far as this particular segment goes, everything was great with the Usos, and you know they're continuing this divide of the bloodline, and they purposely had their camera shot with Roman and Solo on one side of the ring and the Usos on the other. So yeah, another fantastic segment overall. Very intrigued about KO and Sammy doing the Saudi Arabia show, and not sure what's going to happen here. Maybe the Usos will cost Roman and Solo the titles. I could see that as a possibility. Oh, yeah, and Greg makes a good point here, which is unfortunate, but they've done it before where they tape the SmackDown before Saudi Arabia, obviously not going live the night before. They have done that in the past, so that would kind of take away if it's a taped match. But I think we all know the thing is, we all know Roman's going to 1,000 regardless. So I say tape the damn match and whatever, He should still do it for the whole principle of it, bottom line. We do have a few super chats here. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat, says, was one reason that Corbin became a jobber is because he talked back at a coach concerning concussions and lost Money in the Bank to Jinder Mahal? I don't think so. I think with Corbin, they just like to use him in a role similar to The Miz. Like, they know they can rely on the guy. Corbin's always getting opportunities, and Corbin is always a fixture on the show. So even if they're not pushing him, they'll use him in a supporting role, and they can always rely on him to be the loudmouth heel that gets his ass kicked. But Corbin can be an ass kicker. Miz is an ass kisser, and he's a loudmouth guy. You want to see him get punched in the face. But Corbin, like, when he's at the top of his game, like, you like seeing Corbin beat up people. And I think that they could make him an effective babyface. Let's see what else we got here. Endeavor Representative sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Says, in my expert analysis, all this crap with teasing a breakup is WWE just trying to drag out the story until Rock finally comes back. I reported it. Well, you may be right. I mean, if it's Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, I would not be shocked. Like, they might still try for next year's WrestleMania. It would not surprise me if we do get The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Like, if The Rock's going to come back, that's the match. But every year that goes by, I think the odds do decrease a little bit. The Rock is older, and it's going to be harder for him to get in the ring shape to do the match. But hell, Steve Austin did it. I mean, certainly The Rock can do it, and The Rock physically still looks amazing, so he could certainly pull it off. And Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. Much appreciated. Says, the SmackDown tournament should have been to determine Roman Reigns' opponent at Night of Champions, or the SmackDown before he hits 1,000 days, not for a Raw title shot. Well, I would not want them to do two tournaments. I really think that they should have done King of the Ring. I stick to that. It should have been all Raw, though, and they could have done like a battle royal on SmackDown and have the winner of that face Roman Reigns on day 999, and you could have had somebody crazy like LA Knight get the opportunity, or any up-and-comer babyface. Like, give it to an NXT person, maybe even Cameron Grimes for 999. You know damn well he's not going to win, but he's going to give it a great effort. So they could have done this a little bit differently, in my opinion, for sure. And I'm still bummed about the lack of King of the Ring. Anyways, moving on here, we had Damage Control going for the tag team titles. And before that, by the way, the Usos were backstage, and the LWO made fun of them for being on the outs with Roman. And I guess we're getting a tag team match next week with Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar going up against the Usos on SmackDown. That'll be next week. But anyways, Damage Control, Bayley and Dakota Kai challenging Raquel and Liv Morgan for the women's tag team titles. And before the match, Bayley cut a promo with Damage Control, said that SmackDown belongs to them. And you had Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, the NXT women's champions who have been drafted to SmackDown. They were watching backstage. Pretty standard tag team match here. Back and forth for a bit. Raquel got a hot tag after Liv Morgan was beat down for a while. Raquel took down Damage Control, double choke slam. Raquel and Liv worked together, but Damage Control somehow managed to regain the upper hand. Dakota came off the top as Bayley held up Liv, and Dakota hit the Meteora, but could not make the cover right away. Raquel was able to break up the pin attempt. Things started to break down. Io Sky attempted to interfere. She had the championship, but Raquel stopped her. And then Liv rolled up Bayley and got the win. The breakup of Damage CTRL seems to be continuing in motion. They lose this match. Miscommunication. The interference attempt did not work. And we still have your tag team champions as Liv Morgan and Raquel. And as Daniel said, maybe they'll do a tag team title unification match. This Guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Corbin could have been a great WWE champion. Yo, Aaron. I'm not sure I would go that far. And I think in 2016, 2017, like, he was still developing, but now he's a more well-rounded character, but also he has quite the losing streak. If they could rebuild him and give his character some layers, like, maybe there's still a possibility for him. But yeah, he really needs a reboot, like I said earlier. Thank you for the super chat. Now we move on to a backstage segment with Pretty Deadly. They approached the Brawling Brutes after Sheamus lost his match, and they were instigating them, making fun of them. And then they just ran off when Sheamus was showing his frustrations with them. And I guess there's going to be a tag match, Brawling Brutes versus Pretty Deadly, on next week's SmackDown. We had Bianca Belair for her big celebration as the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion of all time. She's still Raw Women's Champion despite being on SmackDown. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, what if Charlotte was the new leader of Damage CTRL? Interesting. I would not be against that. Like, they could turn Bayley into a face again. Not make her the old Bayley again, but they could still turn her face. I think she could definitely pull that off. That's an interesting one. Like, I could see any number of people potentially stepping in and taking over the role of Damage CTRL. And they could blame it on Bayley, say it was Bayley's fault why the faction did not succeed in WWE. Endeavor Representative sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Says, by the way, it was reported The Rock will return to the Fast series, so that puts WrestleMania in jeopardy. Endeavor isn't happy with me, but it's not my fault. The Rock's a busy man. I mean, I still think the odds are against it. Now, maybe he could work it out, but any match he does is a big risk. He got hurt the last time he had a full-blown match, and I think that there's just too much on the line with The Rock. Every project he has, a lot of people are getting a big paycheck, and if The Rock gets hurt, that can jeopardize the income for a lot of people. The Rock has a big responsibility, and yeah, I don't know if he's gonna do the WrestleMania match. I think it could go either way at this point. Anyways, Bianca had her big celebration in Knoxville and her neck of the woods. But then Asuka showed up, and Asuka acted like she was happy for Bianca, wanted a handshake, but instead she spit the mist in the face of Bianca Belair, officially turning heel. I mean, it was kind of like that, but I guess before it was just about, I have to show you that I'm not your friend, but now it's just full-blown malice by Asuka, and she was laughing. Officials came down trying to wipe the mist from the face of Bianca, and then backstage Bianca was all hysterical. So yeah, Asuka heel turn. Maybe she wins the title since she's on SmackDown, but then somebody would have to beat Rhea, right? I'm confused at this point. Yeah, Asuka's on SmackDown going for the Raw Women's title. I'm getting so confused with all this. It's ridiculous. Anyways, Psychojet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, is it true The Rock needs 6 months to prepare for a match? I mean, you would have to ask The Rock that question, but I would think that he would need a decent amount of time to get into ring shape. I mean, at least 3 or 4 months, I would think, to do the match. Like, he's not out there taking the bumps every single night. Like, it's in a way easier when you're out there doing it every night. When you're not doing it, it's a lot more challenging. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says The Rock could referee a Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa match. Well, there's an idea, and I brought up several months ago, maybe The Rock could have main evented WrestleMania by refereeing the Cody Rhodes match, although that would not have worked out if The Rock or if Roman Reigns was winning. You know, you have to have the happy ending with The Rock, although I guess Reigns could have won and then Rock gives him the rock bottom at the end, but then you tease something that you might not be able to deliver. So in the end, probably for the best that it did not happen. But yeah, maybe next year The Rock does the referee role. Main event, AJ Styles going up against Bobby Lashley. Match was good. I don't think it was as strong as the triple threat matches, but it was good. Lashley literally tossed Styles over the top rope like a child to the outside and threw Styles into the post, did that signature move. After the break, Styles managed to make a bit of a comeback, applied the calf crusher. Lashley escaped from that. Lashley applied the hurt lock to Styles. Styles got to the ropes, went back and forth a little bit. Lashley power slammed Styles. Styles kicked out. Lashley went for the spear but missed, hit the ring post, and then Styles won the match with the phenomenal forearm. And yes, this was like a battle of former TNA World Champions. AJ Styles, though, was victorious, got the clean win over Bobby Lashley, which I'm very intrigued about because I would think that they are building up Lashley for Roman Reigns, and he takes a clean loss here to AJ. I don't think AJ's beating Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins winning the title is quite certain. I would be shocked if AJ won, but maybe I'll change my mind. I mean, we still got 2 weeks and got some time until the predictions video, but right now I would expect Rollins to win the Raw title, right? I suppose Styles could win it and be drafted to Raw, and then they could trade and Cody could go to SmackDown maybe. Again, I'll let it play out. Psychojet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, best case scenario, The Rock costs Roman Reigns the title against Cody at SummerSlam. Cody is WWE champion. Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 40. Everyone is happy. I mean, I would be fine with that. Like, that's how you could set up the match. If The Rock was able to commit to it by SummerSlam, which is a huge question mark, but if he could commit, like, that would be a nice angle to set it up. Like Roman, his typical bloodline interference, and then all of a sudden, The Rock's music hits. Think of Steve Austin coming out there when it was The Rock versus Mankind. You know, you had the corporation out there, and then all of a sudden, Austin's music hits. Austin runs down and takes care of business. They could do the same thing there. So AJ Styles won, celebrated with the OC. And another thing to consider, like, how would they do this with the OC? Like, are they going to have the whole OC go back to Raw and trade Cody, maybe trade multiple people? So I really think Rollins is going to win here, but who knows? I mean, at this point, anything's possible. I was not expecting Owens and Zayn to be part of the pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia. All right, so overall, it was a really good, eventful SmackDown. Crowd seemed decent at times, but not the best crowd. I mean, after Puerto Rico, it just takes a huge step down. But overall, very good SmackDown. I think I would go B plus on it. Wrestling wise, it was really strong. I love the Bloodline segment, and everything else was fine. It was definitely a very watchable show, and I would recommend it. Good, very good SmackDown. Anyways, that's all I got for tonight. And by the way, the Dynamite that I went to, obviously I was there live, so um, my opinion is a little biased. As I mentioned when I tuned in for Jeff's stream, opening match was great. Claudio versus Ray Phoenix, and the main event was awesome. The cage match. Love the Don Callis heel turn. Middle of the show was all right. Nothing too special. It was disappointing that there was no MJF, no Chris Jericho, no Adam Cole, not even Jungle Boy. Like, I wanted to hear his music in the arena. So from a live perspective, it was a little disappointing because some of the big names were not there, but the main event was top tier, so can't complain too much. And I'd probably give the show a B plus. Realistically, if I was watching it on television, and I think the main event boosted it up, and of course the opening match. So that's my final thoughts on Dynamite. I've been posting pictures and video clips, so make sure you follow me at Aaron Rift on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram too. Follow me there. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. Much love and appreciation to everybody. And one more time, shout out to the Real Wyatt. Sorry I missed your super chat. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. See you next time for the No DQ review. And I will see you all next time. Have a great night, everyone.